Hello, my friends. I want to share with you a story that happened years ago. I took my wife out on a date, and while we were sitting down, talking and waiting for the waiter to come and serve us, I leaned closer into her because she was sitting across from me, and I leaned into her and I asked her this question. I said, "Babe, what can I do to add value to your life? Is there anything that I can do to make you feel loved and appreciated?" I remember it like it was yesterday. What happened next transformed how I listen and communicate with my wife. And I know that you can probably relate to this too. My wife looked at me and asked if I really want to know. And I said, yes, I do. She said, "I would love for you to stop cutting me off when we are having a conversation or disagreement." I responded, "I do." And she gave me a resounding, "Yes, you do." And she said, "When you do, it makes me feel like you are not interested in what I have to say, and your voice and your opinion is the only one that counts. It makes me feel like you are trying to read my mind, like you're trying to rush me off so that you can speak your mind." That was like a punch in the gut. And she was right. As I reflect on what she said, I begin to realize that it is something that I've done many, many times. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't realize how much it was affecting you. And she said, yes, it has. I've talked to you about it before, but you never really listen. See, you never really listen. How many times you've heard that? When your spouse said, "Honey, you're not listening to me. Babe, you're not listening to me. I can talk to you because you just don't listen." What do you think I did after I heard that? I owned it. I took responsibility for it. I told her I would do better, and right there at dinner, I started practicing. See, you have to practice to get perfect. You have to practice to get good. Remember, always remember that love is not something that happened. It is created. I worked very hard on not cutting her off. I didn't know. Maybe it was because I grew up with 5 sisters. I'm the only brother among 5 sisters, so I love to talk. I've been talking all my life, and so maybe I just never realized that cutting her off was impacting how she viewed our relationship. And I made a promise at that dinner table that I would work very hard to not do that. I started listening to her to understand what she was saying rather than listen to respond. I started to show more interest in what she has to say. And my friend, if this video is adding some value to you, then please do us a favor and hit that like button. It is the best way that you can show your support for this channel and help this channel to grow. And the next day I went to our neighborhood Barnes and Noble store and I started to look for books on communication. And I found a very powerful book. To this day, I read it. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I learned from that book that the most important person in a conversation, it is not you, it's the other person. I also learned from that book that people are more interested in themselves than they are about you. That's why when they're talking to you and you cut them off, it makes them feel bad because you give them the impression like what they are saying is not that important. And from that day forward, I stopped cutting my wife off and I listen to her. Every chance I get, I listen. Another thing I don't do is to tell her that I've heard it before. Or you talked to me about that the other day. Why are you telling me that again? I heard you mentioned it a couple of days ago. No. When a wife is in that zone and she's speaking to you, she's creating that rhythm, she feels comfortable, she feels vulnerable. Never tell her that you've heard it before. Oh, no, you don't. You should listen like it is the first time you are hearing it. I mean, why would you want to interrupt that flow? A woman connects on a deeper level when a man listens to her. When she's having conversation that is valuable, meaningful conversation. There's nothing that set the tone for vulnerability and interest than a man that knows how to listen. Your wife oftentimes doesn't want you to solve her problem. She just wants you to listen. I became a very good listener from that day forward. And what I do, I also engage her in more conversation. Sometimes when she's talking to me about a problem that I've heard before and she don't even remember that she talked to me about it, guess what I did? Depending on what she is talking about, I'm like, really? No way. Get out of here. How did that happen? And what they're going to do about it? What did they say? Tell me more. And she looked at me like, hold on a second, babe. Didn't I talk to you about it a week ago? A couple of days ago? She was in a zone and she was in a rhythm, and I'm not going to cut her off. I'm not going to interrupt it just to say I've heard it before. When you developed good communication skill, You show interest in your spouse. My wife and I, we have a great friendship, a wonderful relationship. And it's been developed over the years because of these things that we're able to discuss and tell each other our likes and dislikes. And then we find reason to improve on them to make the relationship better. I allow my wife to feel safe speaking to me. I became a safe place for her. I value her opinion. I value what she has to say. And I show interest in what she has to say. What if you ask your spouse this question? Honey, babe, sweetheart, what can I do to add value to your life? Is there anything I can do to make you feel loved and appreciated? Are you willing to hear what they have to say? Are you open to make changes based on the information that they give you? Will you take the initiative to make an effort to change so that you can create love? This was what I did. This is why it is so important to have open and honest communication. I was willing to listen. I was willing to take the information, and I was willing to make change so that I am able to impact change in the marriage based on my decision to become a better version of myself. I want to challenge you to ask that question. I want to challenge you to work on yourself. I want to challenge you to grow. I want to challenge you to develop. I want to challenge you to be the best version of you. I want to challenge you to make growth the most important thing that you do. Growth is so important. Most of the things that you struggle with in your marriage right now, it is because you're not growing. Most of your struggles is because you're not spending enough time to understand each other, know the love and the rhythm of each other. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you were blessed by it. I want to ask you a question. Is there anything that your spouse have ever asked you to do that is impacting the marriage, and you take the initiative to do it, and it just changed the way they feel about you, changed the way they respond to you? What is that? Leave a comment in the comment section. And we also have another video that you can watch that can really help you to add value and help you to create love. I don't know if it's here or it's there. Whichever way it goes, just watch it. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. And remember that your marriage is not easily broken.